My name is Nkosinathi Madondo from South Africa. I'm here representing South African Journal of Science. So my talk really was about inclusive, language, in research, and language that is accessible, and so more so because as South Africa and Africa, we come from, a condition of, being excluded, in various facets of life, politically, socially, and otherwise. And language was at the forefront, of that, So you had a situation, for example, in South Africa, where at some point you had what was called white South Africa, and during that time, only two languages were dominant. That was English and Afrikaans, All other languages had no place, in South Africa. And so you can see how exclusion, played out in that sense, So as a South African journal now, we are trying to make sure that we don't really leave authors, like to write as they wish without considering the consequences, of their writing, in the sense that because the journal is interdisciplinary, it doesn't really focus on the natural sciences per se, but science, which will include your natural science, applied science, humanities, social sciences, so it has wider readership. And so in writing, we encourage authors to ensure that what they write about does not only appeal or cannot only be understood by the members of the field, but it can also be understood by someone who is not, a scientist or an economist or whatever. So when you read it, as much as you may use jargon, but please explain, some of the jargon that you use for the benefit of someone who is not a scientist, for example, And maybe the challenge or the cry that scientists have raised about that if you make language accessible and easy, then you are lowering the standards, And the counter-argument we have as far as that is that, what we do, we believe in quality research. Quality research in the sense that it is peer-reviewed. What you write about must have conceptual depth. It has methodological rigor and coherence. So that does not mean you need to write in dense, convoluted language that is not clear to understand. So as long as your work is rigorous, then that is okay. So for work, if work is obscured, that doesn't make the work rigorous, So that is really what we are trying to push, towards, So one of the events that have emerged, so far, is an attempt to publish in various languages, So we have about 11 official languages, so they've included the sign language now. But so far, because this is a new initiative, so there are few publications in isiZulu and Afrikaans, So of course, mainly is in English, but we are trying, to ensure that other languages, get the space, that they deserve.